Good morning to you and welcome to another exciting edition of Sports Central, brought to you live and exclusive to Spectrum Television, with a whole lot of topical issues to, of course, discuss in the world of sports this morning. I am Tobe David and I'm super happy to return. Well, the FIFA Club World Cup started over the course of the weekend with so many important games across different centers to take a look at. We'll also look at what's happening in the UFC One Night after so many years has finally returned back to victory. And I'm talking about Kamaru Usman. We'll also look at what's trending in the world of tennis with emerging title holders over the course of the weekend across WTA and ATP Tour, of course, games. We'll also look at the world of transfers this morning with conversations surrounding players moving left, right, and center. The window officially opens once again today, and it will run through September. We'll talk more about that on the flip side of the show. But before we bring you all of these in fine details, let's first of all bring you up to speed with some of the bigger stories emanating from the world of sports. This Well, the conversation starts from the world of UFC. After nearly 4 years without a win and persistent questions about his decline, Kamaru Usman rolled back into relevance on Saturday night with a commanding performance at UFC Atlanta, one that reasserted his place among the greatest welterweights in MMA history. Kamaru Usman has returned to winning form for the first time in nearly 4 years, defeating American Joaquin Buckley by unanimous decision in the main event of UFC Fight Night at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia on Sunday, June 15, 2025. The win is his first since 2021 rather, and comes after a series of setbacks, including the loss of his welterweight title to Leon Edwards in August 2022. Whether this performance leads Osman back to a title shot remains to be seen. Away from that to the world of tennis this morning, Belgian third seed Elisa Mertens beat Elena Gabriela Ruse 6-3, 7-6 in the final of the Libema Open, Netherlands, on Sunday to claim a second WTA Tour title of the year, adding to a victory in the Singapore Tennis Open in February. The win earned Mertens a third WTA singles title and the first on grass, though she won the Wimbledon women's doubles title in 2021, while also extending her head-to-head record against Ruse to 4-0. Mertens trailed 3-1 in the first set after being put under early pressure by the remaining fabrics points to secure a crucial hold in the fifth game, which turned the tide of the contest. Mertens trailed 3-1 in the first set after being put under early pressure by the remaining qualifier. The Belgian recovered from a shaky start and served 2 break points to secure a crucial hold in the fifth game. She turned the tide of the contest, but Mertens showed great resilience to hold serve and force a tiebreaker, which she powered through with little trouble. Away from that, Taylor Fritz captured his fourth ATP Tour title on grass at 9th overall on Sunday at the Stuttgart Open, where he defeated world number 3 Alexander Zverev 6-3, 7-6. In a rain-disrupted final, Fritz produced an impressive performance on serve to maintain his dominant recent record against Alexander Zverev. Fritz, who has now won his past 5 meetings against Zverev, will return to world number 4 in the ATP rankings following his victory. Fritz did not drop a set all week at the ATP 250 event in Germany and is the first player to lift a tour-level trophy without losing serve since Giovanni Pesci Perichat in Basel last October. Away from that to the world of Formula One, title rivals and McLaren teammates Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri came to blows for the first time as the Briton appeared to misjudge a passing attempt in the Canadian Grand Prix. Norris hit the back of Piastri's car on the pit straight with 4 laps to go as George Russell took Mercedes' first victory of the season with a controlled drive. Red Bull lost the protest, claiming that Russell drove erratically behind the safety car, but it was rejected by the stewards. Piastri's championship lead over Norrie increased to 22 points with Verstappen 21 adrift of the Britain. Well, finally, from the world of football, Champions League winners Paris Saint-Germain beat fellow European heavyweights Atletico Madrid 4-0 at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena on Sunday to get their Club World Cup campaign off to a winning start. Luis Enrique's side landed the first blow when Fabian Ruiz fired home from distance in the 19th minute as they showed no signs of rust in the first match since trouncing Inter Milan 5-0 to win their first Champions League title last month. Paris Saint-Germain doubled the advantage just before halftime when Antoine Griezmann misled to a counter-attack that ended with Vitinha firing home under sunny skies in Southern California. Atletico's nightmare continued when defender Clement Lenglet was sent off after receiving a second yellow card, and Alexander Soloth inexplicably missed what should have been a tap-in, instead sending it over the bar. Substitute Seni Mayulu added a third goal for Paris Saint-Germain in the 87th minute, which culminated in PSG getting the victory. But that's all we have for you at this time. We'll take a very short break. When we return, we'll have an extensive conversation in the world of sports. Please stay with us. Get ready for the exciting showdown, the biggest names, the toughest competition, and the most thrilling moments. From the gridiron to hardwood, and from the pitch to the track. Join us for Sports Central, the most electrifying sports program on television, every weekday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon on Spectrum Television. Sports Central, your home for sports. Get ready for the exciting showdown, the biggest names, the toughest competition, and the most thrilling moments. From the gridiron to hardwood, and from the pitch to the track. Join us for Sports Central, the most electrifying sports program on television, every weekday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon on Spectrum Television. Sports Central, your home for sports. Welcome back. It is still Sports Central, brought to you live and exclusive to Spectrum Television. And just like I told you, we'll return, of course, to talk about every single story in the world of sports extensively, as it has to, of course, do with the world of sports. Well, I'm joined by Infonitina, returning. Together, we'll do justice to all of these fine stories that catches your fancy. Infon, good morning to you. An excellent time to return.
Well, a pleasure to be here on the show this morning. Just coming back from the opening ceremony of the Club World Cup, and we saw a lot of teams. Inter Miami being held to goalless draw by Al Ahly of Egypt, and people are starting to say maybe this MLS teams and even Saudi Arabian teams are on the same level with our African teams right here. But still a lot to expect from the Club World Cup in the coming days.
So we'll talk about football as we progress on the show this morning. But let's first of all look at what happened in the world of UFC over the course of the weekend with what Nigerian international sparking questions. Probably might be inundated with question marks surrounding the next move for him, what could potentially happen, whether to retire or not. I'm talking about Kamaru Usman. The man was able to end a 4-year drought with impressive victory that happened over the course of the weekend, also silencing what many would term several question marks as it has to do in the world of UFC. Well, the man was relevant on Saturday night, of course, rowing back to victory, a commanding victory, some would say, in that victory against Joaquin Buckley. It was a game that spanned through about 4 rounds, with the man, after 4 rounds of action, it was unanimously agreed that Kamaru Usman, of course, reigned supreme in that particular game. And this could also set the tone as regards what we should be expecting from Kamaru Usman before the end of the year. Well, does this victory now silence the question marks surrounding Kamaru Usman and the very fact that he's aging, not being able to, of course, be active in the UFC scene? Can we actually bank on this victory for something quite handy for Kamaru Usman?
Well, first of all, I would say Kamaru Usman, after a 2-year layoff without any fight, lined up for him, he came back bouncing against Jacqueline Buckley, a man who's been on a 6-fight winning streak. That speaks volume of what he was able to do on Saturday night. Because when you look at Kamaru Usman, I would say a lot of people started doubting him, asking him to retire. 38 years of age, you don't really have a lot of time on your hands. But the man has already penned down what he wants to do, what he intends to do in the welterweight division. He feels that maybe who's just coming up from the lightweight division might get to defeat Jack Dellum and Nina for the title, and he wants to face Islam next and then move up, to the middleweight to face against Rico Duplessis. So when you look at what's happening, I feel Kamaru Usman has shown that aging like fine wine is actually a thing in this particular sport because no one expected him to, dominate against a well-rounded fighter like Joaquin Buckley because at 31 years of age, Buckley, has, advantage of speed, intensity, and all of that. But Kamaru Usman was able to use the advantage of experience, being there a lot of times and knowing what to do. So I just want to see where next for Kamaru Usman because right now I'm not completely sure that his next fight will be a title bout because 2-year layoff. The last time he won a fight was 2021, and then the next fight was 2022 against the man Hamzat Chimaev, and he didn't win that one. So winning just this one, I don't think Dana White would want to give the man a title fight. So let's just see what happens because the next fight might be against someone who's more well-rounded than his opponent on the night, Joaquin Buckley. So let's just hope that he gets to win more fights and maybe get his dream of having a title fight.
Well, the man endured back-to-back losses and a layoff, with question marks surrounding the man's knees as regards what could actually be obtainable. Injuries also playing a part, fitness levels also being concerns for Kamaru Usman. But now, returning, now the next question would be, can we bank on this victory as something that could also, of course, trigger the man to do more in terms of more exploits more for Kamaru Usman? But now, returning, Now, the next question would be, can we bank on this victory as something that could also, of course, trigger the man to do more in terms of more exploits, more wins, and maybe title deciding bout? It's a conversation that only time will definitely tell. But congratulations, Kamaru Usman. The victory was actually a big statement over the course of the weekend. But let's quickly move away from that and take a look at other stories. It has to do with games, particularly in the world of tennis, that we saw over the course of the weekend across different centers in Netherlands. We also had, of course, one lady doing quite well, saving 11 match points. They call it the Libema Open. Yes, Dries Mertens getting that particular victory was also a conversation for her. Congratulations to her. Defeating Alexandrova at the Libema Open was, of course, a conversation. Let's also look at what happened at the men's event as well. It was a case of one man winning the very first top-level title to his name. And I'm talking about Diallo. The denying Bex was also a debutant in this particular competition. Both players were actually looking forward to their first ATP Tour level title, but one at the end of it was able to get the victory. And I'm talking about Diallo. But the big game that happened over the course of the weekend was actually the Stuttgart Open that happened in Germany. We're talking about Alexander Zverev, world number 3, being defeated in that particular sequence. And guess who defeated him? It was Tyler Fritz. It is actually not the first time we've seen Tyler Fritz get the better of Alexander Zverev. The last 3 meetings before this particular finals all ended in favor of Tyler Fritz, the US international. And it happened yesterday once again. And with this victory, Tyler Fritz is now officially world number 4. Well, fun, Alexander Zverev was actually, of course, a world number 3 home favorite in this game, particularly the top seeded in this particular game. But somehow, the man was able to get victory in this one. And Tyler Fritz now is world number 4.
Well, definitely, you'd say the Americans are beginning to step up to the party. When you look at what Taylor Fritz was able to do against home favorites, I think that Zverev, you know that in recent times we've seen the Americans stepping up to the clutch. But for Taylor Fritz, now current world number 4 was able to push the man Jack Draper out of world number 4 because Jack Draper was the world number 4 before this particular game, and Taylor Fritz was able to get him out of the way. I would say congratulations to Taylor Fritz, but we want to see more. Just like we talked about in the morning, on radio, we said that when you look at the ATP rankings for, the men category, you look at it, and then world number 1 and world number 2 are just miles ahead of the world number 3 to world number 10. It looks as if it's just a different competition for this other side. So when I want to look at it, I just want to see more wins for the world number 3, world number 4, world number 5, and world number 6, and so on. Because you cannot keep just winning amongst yourselves, and then when you get to the world number 1 and world number 2, you are not good enough. So maybe Taylor Fritz needs to step up against the bigger opposition.
Well, we're looking forward to what Alexander Zverev could do in this one. Home favorites, unfortunately, can't really be, of course, a force to reckon with in this game. But it is what it is, and we're looking forward to see what could potentially happen. Well, of course, here we draw the curtains on non-football stories. When we return, we talk about football conversation with the FIFA Club World Cup we saw over the course of the weekend, forming the crux of our discussion. Do stay with us. What's happening? Get ready for the exciting showdown, the biggest names, the toughest competition, and the most thrilling moments. From the gridiron to hardwood, and from the pitch to the track. Join us for Sports Central, the most electrifying sports program on television, every weekday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon on Spectrum Television. Sports Central, your home for sports. Hello, welcome back. It is still Sports Central, and of course, I'm is still right here with me. Together, we're doing justice to all of these sports and football development. But let's talk about football now in extension. And we begin the conversation with a former, I won't call him former, still yes, active Super Eagles defender. As a matter of fact, Semia Jai. Well, if you could recall, some time ago we talked about him being a free agent. Unfortunately, West Bromwich Albion couldn't, of course, renew his contract at the football club. So the man was a free agent. But we're getting confirmations that he has joined Hull City. And now, and many, of course, ask questions about Rima and Semia Jai's quality. Why Hull City? Why not another top team? Maybe in the English Premier League, or maybe a top team in the English Championship. You could recall Hull City left. They were relegated from the Premier League some seasons ago, years back. We do not know when exactly they will return back, but it is official. Semia Jai is set to join Hull City on a free transfer. Well, I do not know whether this is actually a downgrade to the man's profile or maybe upgrade, but we know that the two teams are locked in the English Championship, but unfortunately, it doesn't look likely both teams would get promoted next season.
Well, when you look at Hull City, I would say maybe Semi Ajayi is just looking forward to having more playing
He's
time.
aging at the moment.
Definitely over 30 years, I think 33 at the moment. Looking forward to having more playing time because when you look at what he's been able to, what he's had with West Bromwich Albion last season, we see that he was not really getting playing time. But good to see him move for playing time. This is what I always talk about. You see players like Kelechi Iheanacho. I don't want him to remain in the championship. When you will get relegated, just like Joe Aribo now relegated with Southampton, Paul Onuachu and the likes, don't stay in the championship, else you become a championship level player. Make that particular move, that particular season. Don't stay put in the championship because at a point, teams will begin to look at you like a championship level players. Premier League teams will not come calling for you. That's the problem with Semi Ajayi. Came to the Premier League, actually impressed that season. Scored about 3 goals for West Bromwich Albion as a defender. He was more of a goal-scoring defender, and he played so well. But he decided to go back to the championship when they got relegated, and now he's been stuck there. He's been stuck in that particular loop ever since. So that's why I tell players, move from the championship. Even if you don't come back to the Premier League, maybe go to the Ligue 1, go to the German Bundesliga. I've seen a lot of players take that particular route. Look at Ismail Assar, who's currently playing for Crystal Palace, was relegated with Watford, went to Olympique Marseille, and then returned to Crystal Palace. That's the route that most players likely take. So I think Nigerians should learn from that particular story. Don't stay in the championship, else you just relegate yourself to be a championship level player.
Well, after 6 years stay at West Bromwich Albion, the man has officially left the football club. Now, we're looking forward to what could actually be an injury-free season for him. If you actually follow the man's progress all through the entire duration of last season, it was actually limited in terms of game time. That was because of persistent injury, limiting the man's progress. And we just hope that move to Hull City can actually bring something new, more like a fresh challenge for the man. And maybe avoidance of more injuries could also be a big factor in seeing the man play more for Hull City. But let's quickly come back home and take a look at a former Super Eagles player and a former Super Eagles gaffer has been turkey since the appointment of Eric Sekuchel. But this one that actually stopped debate in the media space for some hours now. And I'm talking about a former Super Eagles manager, Sunday Olise. The man has strongly opposed the continued appointment of foreign managers to lead the Super Eagles national team. And he has also further argued that competent indigenous coaches are in the country. And for the very fact that the NFF are continuing to look outside to appoint a foreign manager, these competent homegrown coaches are unfairly being overlooked due to this decision. Well, I come to you in front. Yes, I know very well the last time the Super Eagles of Nigeria won the AFCON, it was with yes, a home-based manager. But now the man is saying we have competent managers right here. Why should we be going outside to, of course, bring in foreign coaches? Do you share the same sentiments that with homegrown managers, we can even do better than what we're seeing now with the NFF and the Super Eagles of Nigeria?
I'll start with saying such a statement should be coming from Sunday Olise. He was a
He was once a Super Eagles manager.
Failed woefully with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Didn't just fail as a coach. He failed with player management. He made sure that the Super Eagles of Nigeria was broken into different factions. Players not wanting to play for him, and he had to be dealing with just a group of those players. So after Sunday Olise does not have the grounds, does not have the moral ground to say things like this. And also we're just coming off the back of a homegrown coach who almost made sure that we're not going to the World Cup. Finidi George, took us to about 3 World Cup qualifiers, didn't get a single win out of those 3 matches, and he's talking about local coaches. Come on, just let the foreign coach do their bid for now, because this is not the right time to say something like this. Because maybe if our foreign coach was not doing well enough, then you could come up with such statement. But the foreign coach has just not really had time to play with the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and is already coming out to say things like this. I feel Sonny Olise is just stirring a pot of maybe conflict right now, and it's not supposed to be so.
Well, in that interview, he also made mention of the fact that the national team captain shouldn't be steering the ship from the bench. He should be leading the team on the pitch of play, making reference to the likes of Ahmed Musa. So I do not know where you share your thoughts in this one. If you're the standing captain, maybe it's time for him to leave the national team. Or if you see the captain of the national team, like we do call him, he should be parading the squad in the pitch of play, not from the bench.
First of all, I've really not looked at Ahmed Musa as the captain of the Super Eagles for a long time. We've seen William
until the Unity Cup.
No, we've seen William Trusakong leading that team. We watched the AFCON together. We saw the unity. Everyone was behind William Trusakong. He won the player of the tournament for Nigeria as well. So it shows that the man was good enough. I cannot pinpoint any time where we had issues with the locker room in the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So why is, come on, Sonny Olise is just being controversial. There's no problem with William Trusakong leading that team. Even if Ahmed Musa is still bearing the name as the captain, we've not seen him being called up to the Super Eagles in a really long time. So Trusakong is doing a good job. Let's just let sleeping dogs lie for now.
Well, that's of course a conversation with the man Sunday Olise, former player of the Super Eagles and a former gaffer as well of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, not sharing the same sentiments with the NFF. And many are asking questions as regards his time as the national team manager. Was he able to steer the ship to progress? It's in the conversation as well. But let's quickly look at what's happening at the Club World Cup. The FIFA Club World Cup started over the course of the weekend, and we had matches across different centers. The very first game of this particular tournament, Messi's Inter Miami side facing Egyptians Al Hadli, and he ended in a goalless draw. Well, Al-Ahly, that's the Egyptian club side, had a penalty at some point in that game, but unfortunately, they were not able to convert their chances. And at the end of it, it was Inter Miami goalkeeper who won of course, the MVP of that particular game. More games goalkeeper who won of course, the MVP of that particular game. More games also followed suit. We saw the following there, which was on Sunday. Bayern Munich were able to, of course, run 10 goals past on Australian side, with Jamal Musiala scoring a hat-trick in that game. Thomas Muller, of course, Michael Olise also being part of the scoring sheet. Of what we hear, the clubs that Bayern Munich face are not full-time, of course, footballers. Exactly. Some of them have their professions just coming to play football. But now, does it even make sense that we having such large score line in the FIFA Club World Cup game? And many also, of course, asking questions about the quality being watered down with what we saw over the course of the weekend with Bayern Munich.
Well, I would say maybe if we're in New Zealand, maybe we would be back to go represent Auckland at the World Cup. But when you look at it, I feel
the Oceanian side.
Yeah. So Auckland now, when you look at the team, I heard that a lot of players couldn't make it to the Club World Cup because of their 9-to-5 job, so they could not quit their job just to go to the World Cup. So when you look at it, I just feel FIFA should stop things like this. Yes, you're trying to give representation to different continents and all of that, but I'm sure that there are other teams deserving of that sport. When Bayern Munich are able to trash a team by 10 goals to 0, you should know that that team is not good enough. Yes, we've seen Bayern Munich trash teams left, right, center time and time again, but that particular game was a complete dominance from Bayern Munich. the other team had just one shot throughout the entire game. So it shows you that they don't belong at the Club World Cup. I just want to see FIFA, make how would I call it now? Just try to change this because I don't want to see this again. It's going to water down the competition at the Club World Cup. Maybe people will not want. That's why people do not want to go and watch the games when you have Bayern Munich facing teams who are not supposed to be at the Club World Cup. Come on, it's not good enough for people to pay money to see.
Well, the conversation has been about low attendance in the Club World Cup. If you could recall, before the start of the very first game, that was on Saturday, we heard that there was a massive downturn in terms of ticket sales, and at some point, they had to, of course, auction the tickets, bring it lower in terms of prices, so students of universities over there in the United States can actually buy. And then this sparks questions as regards the rationale behind this competition. Some are still saying, why the FIFA Club World Cup? Why don't we allow these players rest before another, of course, hugely contested season as regards club football? But it is what it is. We have to make use of with what we're seeing at the moment. Also, we also saw Paris Saint-Germain be in action, getting the better of Atletico Madrid. They are the current champions of Europe. They bashed Spanish giant, talk about Atletico Madrid, 4 goals to nothing, with goals coming left, right, and center. It looked like this side, from the form we saw in the UEFA Champions League, is still the same form we're seeing at the moment. The likes of Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz, the Spanish international, we'll talk about Mayulu, came off the bench to score for Paris Saint-Germain. A comfortable victory for this side, fresh up from winning the Champions League. They're still basking in that euphoria of victory.
Well, I listened to the post-match conference, and Diego Simeone was giving excuses. He said when Luis Enrique needed a reinforcement on the left wing, he got 70 million. So Varaskelia, he's forgotten that a few seasons back, he spent 113 million for João Felix. So I feel some coaches just tend to shoot themselves in the legs. He just got Julian Alvarez last season for over 90 million pounds. It shows you that it's not just about money. It's money in the right places. For Diego Simeone, he's more at a point in that particular match. I was just watching. I even forgot. And the ball possession was being shown on the screen. I saw 82-18. I was like, come on. Two big teams are playing against each other. It should not be like this. It should be more of like a 50-50, kind of game. So I was really frustrated with Diego Simeone. I feel it's time for Atletico Madrid to move past the Diego Simeone era. Come on, he's maybe kept them in that top three in Spanish football, but it's time for Atletico Madrid to go to the next phase of it.
Well, time for Atletico Madrid to go to the next phase of it. Chelsea will be slam shot on the very second day of September. That's a long-term period of time. So players will be moving left, right, and center. But we'll draw the curtains here. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. We'll return later tomorrow with more extensive conversation in the world of sports. Thank you very much for also being a part of the show.
Always a pleasure to be here. This week is the week of the mental health of the boy child.
Absolutely.
And we remember cases like Dele Ali in football. You know that the boy child really needs mental health awareness. Hopefully, all the boy childs listening get to have proper mental health.
Protect the boy child is a conversation. Stick around till tomorrow. Bye for now.